All right, this video today is for lesson 1.11. So we're still doing inequalities, but there are several different ways that we can write solutions. Okay, and that's what we're going to look at today is how we can represent the solutions. Thank you. So let's start on this side that starts with -3 times 5x plus 1. Okay, and these are real similar to the ones that we did yesterday. So first thing that we've got to do with these is solve them. Okay, so I've got two options here. I can either divide everything by the -3 or we can distribute. Okay, so if I distribute, I'd have -15x, -3 times 1 is -3. Is greater than 72. Once we get to this point, we should be semi-okay with it. So from here, get rid of the addition or subtraction first. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. And then we've got 75. And then we're going to divide by a negative. When we divide by a negative, sign flips. 75 divided by -15. Somebody type that in the calculator for me real quick. What is it? -5? Okay, so that's my answer. So, on this page, F, is that the right one? Okay, so that's this solution. And so the only one that I'm not going to make you write the actual answer in is the graph. Okay, so what this says is x is greater than or equal to -5. So on a graph, if we have greater than or less than, we're going to have an open circle at -5. Okay? If it's got the line underneath it, it's going to be a closed circle. So we need to find a graph that has an open circle at -5. All right, so now looking at H, and it's that gray arrow. Is it pointing towards the numbers that are greater than -5? And so that's the other thing you look at. Make sure the arrow is going the right way. And so a little hack with that, as long as the X is on the left-hand side, the arrow is going to point the same direction as your inequality sign. So this arrow points to the right, and then so does this arrow. Okay? So for your graph, all you have to put is H. Not going to make you draw the graph in. All right. Interval notation is what is used most often. Okay? Even in my college classes, this is what my kids are writing their inequalities with. So we always start with the start point. We're starting at -5, and we're going on forever. E? Mm-hmm. The other thing to notice are these parentheses. So if it is greater than, less than, you use parentheses. If it's got the line underneath it, you use a bracket. And then infinity, negative infinity, and positive infinity always get parentheses. Okay? So these signs tell you a whole lot.
Why is there one with a bracket and parentheses?
Because, Lord, infinity always gets a parenthesis.
Sorry.
My brain just completely stopped and went, ugh. Okay. So we said, what was it? E? So you can put an E, but I want you to write the inequality. All right, next one on there. So 3x minus 5, 1 minus 2x greater than -57. So on this one we have no choice. we have to distribute. So we didn't touch this 3x. And when I distribute, I want to distribute this whole piece, that negative sign included. So negative 5 times 1 is a negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 2x is a positive 10x. And so I have 2x's this time, but they're on the same side. So before I can do anything else, I got to get all my x's together. So positive 3x, positive 10x makes a 13x. And then again, from here we should kind of be smooth sailing. So add 5 to both sides. That makes negative 52. Somebody do that for me really quick. Negative 52 divided by 13. 4? Negative 4? So x is greater than negative 4, which is E. All right, so I'm looking for a graph. I want an open circle at negative 4. Ooh. Did we mess up? Oh, no, we didn't. L. And again, greater than. So all the numbers. So again, check your arrows, but L is correct. All right, and the graph does help when writing the interval notation because you've got that starting point there. So we're starting at negative 4. It's an open circle, so it gets that parenthesis, and it's going on and on forever to infinity. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. And so that one's B. So B has a parenthesis, K has a bracket. I know they look really similar. You can kind of see the little top and bottom on that bracket.
Why does K have a bracket?
Because there's another one that's going to have that answer. Let's do one more on this side. I'll let y'all pick. Which one do y'all want? Which one? All of them? Yeah. Nope, pick one. This one?
5.
This one?
4. Just kidding. 4.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. All right, negative 3 x plus 4 minus 5x. Okay. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Minus 5x. Again, that's nothing's getting distributed to that. All right, combine our x's. So negative 3x and negative 5x is a negative 8x. And then we add 12. So 30? No. 40? Negative 40? And then this one we're having to divide by a negative. So that means that sign's got to flip. Negative 40 divided by negative 8 is a positive 5. So make sure you're writing it on the right one too. X greater than or equal to 5, which is J. Okay. This time a solid circle because it's got that line underneath it. So I need a solid circle at 5. B. Okay. And then it's greater than. So all the numbers greater than. So we're starting at 5, but we've got a solid circle. We've got this line underneath it. So that 5 gets a bracket. Yep, see. All right, flip the page. This one has a little bit of everything. Yep. So 12 plus 2x minus 2x, 4 plus x. So first things first, combine your like terms. What happens when you have a positive 2x and a negative 2x? Those cancel. Mm-hmm. Oh. Sorry. Okay. So now what? Minus 4. So that's an 8. Okay. But I got things on the wrong side, so I have to flip the whole thing. Alligator's eating x. Alligator has to keep eating x. So x is greater than 8, which is I. So I'm looking for an open circle, no line underneath it, at 8. Okay, and all the numbers greater than. Starting at 8, but it's a parenthesis because there's no line. And we're going all the way to infinity. L. Let's jump down. Let's do the bottom 3. The bottom 3 are the grossest on this side. Okay. All right. Negative 2 times 3 plus 2x minus 6 is less than negative 12 minus 5x. A lot to do here. So first up, distribute. Negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6. Negative 2 times positive 2 is a negative 4x. And then nothing's happening to that negative 6, so it just gets added on. All right. Our like terms here are a little bit different. I got 2 plain old numbers here. And so I want to combine those. Negative 6 and a negative 6 makes a negative 12. All right, now we got to move an x. Which x do we want to move? Negative 4x or the negative 5x? Okay. So do the opposite. When we're moving pieces, we're just adding or subtracting. So negative 4 and a positive 5. And I'm just going to put the 1 there because I'm not done with my work. It doesn't hurt anything right now. So if you need to put that 1 in as a placeholder, do it. All right, what's my next step here? Add 12. What happens when we add a positive 12 to a negative 12? They cancel to a 0. So now is when I can get rid of that 1. That is an answer. X can be less than 0. So this is the first less than that we've had. Which one is it? G. Okay. Hey, Kaiser. Because he knows I have the balls and the snacks. He knows where it is, too. They're stressing out.
Don't stress. Oh, pupper dog.
Whoop! You better come see me.
What are y'all working on?
Linear inequalities. See ya. Thanks. I had a basketball in here last year because we'd shoot hoops. And, like, I had it stashed, like, way under. And he can smell the rubber on the balls. Like, he found it. And he's, like, under here, like, digging like a crazy man. And we're like, what is he going after? Like, is there a rat? Is there a mouse? And here he comes up with that ball. And he was like, yeah, I smelled it. All right. Open circle at 0. But look what this one, look at the arrow. The arrow needs to be pointing left this time. So again, make sure. All right. So my starting point is a little bit different on these. Okay? Because I'm going all the way to negative infinity. So when my arrow points to the left, I'm starting at negative infinity. And I'm ending at 0. So when we write these in interval notation, we always write them in order. Smallest number first, biggest number last. All right, next one. I'm just going to get a new sheet of paper. All right, negative 3 times 4x plus 5 greater than or equal to 6, 3. This one's got even more that we have to do. So we're going to have to distribute on both sides before we do anything else. So negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x. Negative 3 times a positive 5 is a negative 15. 3 times negative 3x is a negative 9x. And I know I got a plus negative there, but it's fine for now. And then 3 times a negative 8 is a negative 24. Okay, so group all your pieces up. All you want on either side is an x and a plain number, x and a plain number. So I want to group up these plain old numbers. So this side's going to stay the same. So 6 plus negative 24, negative 18. And then I'm not going to do the plus minus again. I'm just going to do minus 9x. Plus minus is the same thing as minus, and we want as few of symbols as possible. All right, now I got to get my x's together. What x do we want to move? So I'm going to do the opposite. And again, it doesn't matter. If you wanted to move the 9, it will still work out the same. So don't panic over that if I'm moving the right one or not. Negative 9 and a positive 12 is a positive 3x. Okay. Get our numbers together. So I'm going to add 18 to both sides. Negative 15, positive 18 is a positive 3. Now I've got a 3x. So we divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is a 1. But again, I got to flip the whole thing now. X is greater than or equal to 1. A. So I need a solid dot at the 1 with the arrow pointing to the right. G. And so this one we're starting at 1, but it's got that line underneath it, so it gets a bracket. And then all the way to infinity. So A. All right, last one I'm going to do. I worked all the hard ones, okay? All right, 3 times 7x plus 6 is greater than 3x plus 8 times 3x plus 6. So distribute first, knock out those parentheses. So 3 times 7 is 21. Don't forget the x. 3 times 6 is 18. Nothing happening with that 3x. 8 times 3x is 24x. 8 times 6 is 48. So the last one we had to group plain old numbers. This one we got to group those x's first. So 3x and 24x makes a 27x. All right, get our x's together. Which one do we want to move? 27, okay. Positive 21, negative 27 is a negative 6. Again, use the calculator for those basic little integer operations. It's okay. Move our Plano numbers, so we're going to subtract 18 from both sides. 48 minus 18 is a 30. And then here we've got to divide by a negative. So flip that sign. 30 divided by negative 6. Negative 5. Okay. So x is less than negative 5. So open circle, but this time pointing to the left. F. And so remember, when our arrow is pointing to the left, our start is negative infinity going to 5. And the negative 5 gets a parenthesis because there's no line underneath it. So D. All right, that leaves you 5 to work on your own. My advice would be work all the inequalities, get this solution first. Because this is probably the help where you're going to need the help. Matching up the inequality with the graph in this is not as difficult. So that would be my advice. Work the inequalities first, get those answers, and then move to the other piece, because that's the easier piece that you could do without me.